All right, guys. So I want to talk a little bit about the 064, the machine work, and then I'll start grinding on the port. And of course, as always, we'll go run the saw and see what it can do. I wanted to talk a little bit about the channel and some stuff that's coming up. I am shutting down the channel until further notice. I don't know exactly when or if I'll come back and start doing this stuff. Until further notice, I'm shutting down the channel. I'm not doing any more work on saws. I'm not going to be making any more videos that I know of. This is going to be the last video that I'm going to be doing for now. I just want to leave you with this thought. There's a lot of chainsaw content on the internet. It's fun to make it. It's fun to follow it. I'm just going to ask you guys support all these content creators who are making the content, because it takes work to make the videos, to shoot the video and edit it and post it and all of that. Support these guys. Click the like button and support, just in general, support people. Everybody is in a different place with this stuff. Everyone has different needs, different skill levels, and different budgets, and different shops with different capabilities. I think it's important that no matter where somebody's at in their journeys, no matter what it's for, chainsaws or anything, give them a like, give them a heck yeah, keep going, whatever. But that's going to be my kind of leaving message, is just support the community and support each other and have fun and teach each other and learn from each other. That's it. That's it. Let's talk about the 064. The machine work's done. I'm not showing any lathe work or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward, and nor am I the person who should be showing lathe work, because there's just a lot of it turns into a thing where there's a lot of people that think that you shouldn't even be machining on these cylinders. You need high end, you need equipment that costs $50,000 to machine engine parts and stuff like that. And then everybody has different ways to do it, and everybody has different practices that they have found work for them, and it becomes a point of contention sometimes. I don't need any of that. So I'll show you the work, and I'm glad to show you the work and how the saw is run, but in no way is anything on this channel has it ever been really how-to. I think I made one how-to video, or a guide, not a how-to, a guide to just building a steel clamshell. I would say don't do the things that I'm doing, because you will not most likely have the same results. Or if you're experienced, you will probably already have better results than me, because I'm just a hobbyist, a bozo in his barn, just tinkering around with this stuff. A lot of these guys do this every day. This is all they do. All set up for commercial and production. They're just stamping these things out one right after another. Every saw that I build is like a one-off, completely custom thing. I look at it, I evaluate it. How do I want to mold this thing? You know, it's a blank slate. And that's what's fun for me, is to take just a block of aluminum and make it do what I want it to do, or picture in my head a vision that I think might really help this thing run good, cut really well. Let's take a look at the machine work. Okay, so first of all, on this 064, a little overview on the saw. My word, this thing is mint. I mean, it's not mint, right? But for taking apart a 40-year-old saw, this is a real treat for me. They don't come in like old ones like this very often. And I think I know why it got discarded, and then this saw got discarded for the price that it did. That oil line up in there is split. So it was just dumping all of its oil out, and the piston did have some scoring on it, but the ring was really nice. It still made good compression and ran good. And the cylinder's pretty nice. The cylinder's actually not affected by the scoring at all. So yeah, this thing's right where you'd want it to be. And I kind of went back and forth on Should I split the cases? Should I replace the bearings? And yeah, if you could get good bearings, if you could get some European or Japanese bearings to put in this thing, sure, absolutely. And everyone has to evaluate how much work they want to do to the saw. You know, if this is like a family heirloom or something and you want to tear it completely down and put brand new bearings in it and restore the thing to brand new, go for it. Absolutely. But if you're like me, you have 30 some saws or whatever, I lost track. You're probably not just going to arbitrarily split the cases on all of them. When they, you know, on a saw like this, it's got really good OEM bearings in it. And you can see it, this saw is not whooped. It's not whooped out. If the bearings are tight, they don't make any noise, I'll leave the original bearings in it. I did order new seals for it. And then we have to go over like all of this rubber stuff. See how this rubber stuff doesn't last 40 years. So the AVs, the fuel line, impulse line, the carb boot, the oil line's already blown. That's a good indication that other lines may be compromised. We got to go over all that for sure. All the rubber stuff, replace all of that. The metal stuff, I'm fine with it. It will get a meatier piston. But other than that, everything else will be left OEM. OEM cylinder, OEM bearings will remain as long as I don't see anything unusual about them. But that's the plan. So as far as this machine work goes, the machine work is all about combustion chamber and squish band optimization. So one thing about the 064 that is very notable is the thickness of the base. And I've got actually some other cylinders that have been kind of living rent-free up here for a while. We could just kind of look at some of these. What is this? 661, I think. Look at the base thickness in comparison. I mean, without measuring it, that's almost like half the thickness of that base. Here's a 400, another modern saw, a Stihl 400, much thicker. Here's a 500i. These modern ones are all kind of about the same thickness, and in comparison to this older 064, they're quite a bit stronger, quite a bit. They can handle more heat. That's what it's all about. I'm not so worried about the cylinder just blowing off. It's got to have the material there to handle the heat and handle all the things that happen to aluminum in the process of heating and cooling and all of that. Okay, so as I'm roughing in my port work, and we're talking about the base and the base thickness right here, I'm going to interject right now and show you a couple of things. So here's an equivalent era saw. Here's a Husqvarna, about 338 331 thousandths, 8.5 millimeters, somewhere in that ballpark. And then on this 064, we've got 6.4 millimeters, 6.5 millimeters, or 248 thousandths, 253 thousandths, just on a rough measurement here. So that's just the difference between a Husqvarna and a Stihl from the same era. So as I'm roughing in my port work, I'm kind of just being mindful, I guess, and you do you. I'm just kind of being mindful how much material is getting hogged out down here, because of that compromised base thickness. So if I go and just absolutely hog this out all the way to the bottom, I'm thinning this, right? And I'm removing even more material and structure from the bottom of this bottom frame of the cylinder. That's why we're a little bit limited on how much machine work we're going to do. But in my opinion, there is some machine work. There is some benefit to doing some machine work. So first of all, the chamber, well, two things about the chamber. I was measuring a inconsistent squish under the factory conditions. You know, before everything was taken apart, I measured the squish with the gasket. It's got about a 15 thou gasket that I pull out of it. The squish was kind of all over the place as I measured it around the 360 degrees. All within maybe 5,000ths, but not optimized at all. So the idea here was to remove the base gasket. Okay, so we're going to lower it that 15 thousandths by removing the base gasket, but also take about 5 thousandths out of the chamber and about 5 thousandths off the base, and just try to get that squish band optimized right how it is now with a perfect 20 thousandths all the way around. And I have actually about 20 thousandths. This is exactly how I like to do it. I've got 20 thousandths out here on the very outwardmost part of the squish band. And then I've got about 25 thousandths in the middle as it starts to open up into the chamber. So there's a little bit of a taper to it, but not much. So that to me is invaluable because we are so limited. We can't just go and cut a ton of chamber and cut a ton of base off. So having that squish band optimized and pushing the perfect amount of mixture into the chamber, and grabbing as much compression ratio as we can along the way is pretty dang important. So that was the whole premise. Like I said, about 50, maybe 5 thou, maybe a little more than 5 thou off the chamber, and then exactly 5 thousandths off the base is what I cut. And now we do have a perfect 20 thou squish all the way around the outer ring, going up to about 25. So that's what we're going to run. Okay, so for the piston, not going to do a whole heck of a lot to the piston, but let's see what we can do. I got 90 grams. So let's do a little lightening on the piston and see what happens. A little cleanup work on the piston. And remember, there is no machine work done on this piston. So just some basic cleanup work on the windows, getting those windows flowing, and a little casting cleanup on the inside of the piston. Didn't really grind anything up on the top up there. So yeah, just some basic cleanup work, sanding and Scotch brighting to smooth it up. So now we're at 87 grams. So we dropped 3 grams just by doing a little bit of basic cleanup work. Okay, team, the port work is all done. Let's start with the intake. Intake got a little bit of that lung action. Got a little width, got a little size, got a little bit more time. Transfers got kind of that belled out shape on the bottom. And set to 120 degrees on the top. Everything's chamfered. Baby bottom smooth, chamfered on transfers and exhaust. You know, polishing is probably the easiest part. All the sanding and all the grinding and sanding is the hard part, but putting the polish in there is pretty easy. So let's look at the timing numbers. We got the intake, like we said, we're going to shoot for about 77. Now, if this was a 54 mil version, the 066 version, I'd probably just shoot it right up to 80 for 160 duration. But I think that this 064 will run nasty with 154 intake duration. Exhaust went to 98, just like planned. Transfers ended up going up to 120. So down to 180 and back, we got a 120 degree duration on the transfers. Should give me 22 degrees of blowdown and 43 degrees on the case pumping. Okay, so let's give everything a final cleaning, get that carbon out of the chamber, seal this thing up on the cases, do a muffler mod, and then we'll go run this thing tomorrow and test it out.